Hey everybody, welcome to the post-Survivor Series edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, your source for all the latest news and fallout regarding Survivor Series. The big news coming out of the pay-per-view was the debuts of Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. No relation to Luther Reigns, thankfully. He's actually part of the famous Samoan wrestling family. His father was Sika, and his brother, many of you remember him as Rosie. So he's got wrestling in his blood. Seth Rollins, going back to Ring of Honor, and he's been in WWE's developmental program. And Dean Ambrose, a guy who has also been in developmental, and somebody who I've been asked all the time, when's he going to debut on the WWE roster? Well, now you finally have him. He's here, he's arrived, and definitely a newsworthy Survivor Series. My first question here was, what did you think about the Survivor Series from top to bottom? I thought, overall, it was a slight thumbs up. I thought the undercard was okay, nothing too memorable. I thought the unannounced tag match was good. I think the show really picked up with the last two matches, and that's what's important, that the main events delivered, and I felt they did. Starting off with the traditional Survivor Series match, I thought it was a very good match. I loved the finish. I was actually surprised that Dolph Ziggler won, but I'm happy he did win. If they're grooming him for the world title, this was a win that I think he needed to establish himself as the real deal and help elevate him. So I'm really happy with him pulling off the win, and it does seem like WWE's starting to build up to a Randy Orton heel turn. He went for the punt, but didn't quite work out, and Ziggler beat him, so this could be the beginning of Randy Orton making that turn. So I liked that match a lot. And then the main event, I thought it was a very good triple threat. I think that WWE worked well to hide Ryback's limitations and tried to make the best of the situation. I thought the match was well laid out, and it was very good. There wasn't anything too off about that match, and you know, it was basically both guys, CM Punk and John Cena, taking turns trying to keep Ryback down, and then they both did the double suplex to Ryback through the table, and then at the end of the match, the NXT guys come out and lay out Ryback, and then John Cena's in the ring. John Cena had just been hit with shell shock, so he was laid out for quite some time, and CM Punk still got the pin on him. I thought that was interesting, but yeah, I think overall a thumbs up show and something that people remember. I mean, I've seen a lot of criticism online about the finish, and I think the problem is that WWE did the whole screw job at Hell in the Cell with Ryback, and I think if that had not happened, that people would have accepted this finish more. But I still think that it was good. I think it's a good way to debut new guys, have them come in and make an impact right off the bat. So I say thumbs up. All right, next question here from Jonas Skinner. Hey Aaron, greetings from Newfoundland. Big fan of the show. I thought Survivor Series was the worst pay-per-view for match endings last night. Who is coming up with these ridiculous ideas? And why are we getting this nonsense in recent pay-per-views? Please answer in video. Well, like I said, I'm surprised that Survivor Series got as much criticism as it did, because I figured that people have been wanting to see Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins for so long. I mean, I've been getting questions for months about these guys. When are they coming in? And also with Dolph Ziggler getting the big win, you know, he's an internet favorite. He's the internet darling. I thought people would be really happy with the Survivor Series, but there's definitely been a lot of criticism, and I going back to earlier, I think it's because WWE already did the Ryback screw job, and you know, if you bought Survivor Series, you should have known. You should have known that there was more than likely going to be some sort of screw job, and everyone pretty much predicted CM Punk to retain the title on NoDQ.com. There was a poll, and 90% predicted CM Punk to win, and you know he's probably not winning cleanly, so you had to know going in that there was going to be some sort of shenanigans, and you know, you get what you pay for. And I think that WWE did the best job possible under the circumstances, you know, keeping the title on CM Punk, but keeping Ryback strong and keeping John Cena strong, and doing a finish that introduces new characters and gets you interested in tuning into Raw. So I think that they accomplished what they needed to do to keep people interested. So like I said, I do think it's a thumbs up show, and I just wish that they had this is the problem with doing things on the fly and not booking long term. If they were going to do a long term plan here, obviously you wouldn't have a screw job finish 2 months in a row. That's just what happens when you book things on the fly and you don't have long term planning. So that's definitely an issue that WWE could work on. This is from LD Evans. After Survivor Series is ending, are we seeing the formation of a Nexus 2.0 stable or similar? From Luke in Korea. Well, it certainly seems like that, and you still have Brad Maddox. Who knows where he's going to be? This could be the beginning of an invasion, an NXT invasion. The problem is they've already done that before, and they should do something different. But maybe it'll be like a CM Punk straight edge faction or something like that. But regardless, I do think it's long overdue for WWE to have a main event heel faction. It's been a long time since they've had one, since Nexus. And CM Punk can help mentor these guys and help elevate them. One concern I've seen from people is that guys like Dean Ambrose are just going to be fed to Ryback, and then that'll be the end of them. Hopefully, we see more of them than that, and that they'll get their big push. But yeah, I'm really hoping that there is some sort of faction. Paul Heyman can help guide these guys along, and I think it'll be a good thing for WWE, because WWE really needs to start creating some new stars and get some fresh blood into the mix. This is from Devon DeAndre. Do you think Ryback fans will be disappointed in his role going forward as we head into WrestleMania season? With all the star power, I could see a guy in his spot getting lost in the shuffle. I don't see Ryback getting lost in the shuffle anytime soon. Clearly, WWE was doing everything they could booking-wise to protect him at Survivor Series. They still see a lot in him, and they still feel he has momentum. I don't see Ryback winning the WWE title anytime soon, but I think the world title is a greater possibility. I'm not sure which direction WWE's heading in with the world title, but the fact that Big Show has the title now makes me think maybe at WrestleMania we'll see Big Show versus Ryback, but things could change a million times between now and then, so it's impossible to predict. And Sheamus could very well get the title back at TLC, who knows? They may decide to go with a babyface Sheamus versus a heel Randy Orton. I don't know, but if I was going to go all the way with Ryback, I think I would prefer to put the world title on him and not the WWE title. I could see WWE doing that, but we'll see. I don't know if it's going to happen at WrestleMania or not. They may decide to wait a little bit longer. We'll just have to wait and see. What are your thoughts on Mike Tenay? I personally think he's a very underrated announcer and would love to hear him and JR call a match together. Alright, this one comes from Jake Mac IEJ. What are your thoughts on Mike Tenay? I personally think he's a very underrated announcer and would love to hear him and JR call a match together. I think Mike Tenay was very good when he was part of a three-man announce team. I liked him back in WCW when he was the third guy. He would basically be the professor. He would be the guy that has all the background information on the wrestlers, and he would keep the viewers at home up to speed on what's going on and who these people are and why they're important. I thought Mike Tenay was good in that regard. But as far as being a lead play-by-play announcer, I'm not all that crazy about him, to be honest with you. And I'm not crazy about the dogs barking in the background. Damn you dogs. But going back to Mike Tenay, the problem with Mike Tenay is I think he tends to overreact to things that are unimportant, and then he will underreact to things that are important. And that's a big difference between him and JR. I think JR knows the right time, to be very animated and very emotional about something, and he knows when not to be. And also, Mike Tenay comes off to me like a guy who's fed a lot of his lines, and he can't really improvise a whole lot. That's just my gut feeling on him. I really don't know. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Mike Tenay as a play-by-play announcer. I just think he's okay. This is from S2 Charisma. Who do you think had a better run as champion, Chris Benoit or Eddie Guerrero? I would have to say Chris Benoit, first of all, because he was the world champion, and not that the world champion was bigger than the WWE champion, but because the world title was on Raw during the period that he was champion, and therefore Chris Benoit was the champion of the A show. So I think that made his run right there more important. And he also had a longer reign than Eddie Guerrero, I think by a couple of months. And you know, he had the big matches at WrestleMania. He was the final match at WrestleMania against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and then at Backlash, he was the final match. So yeah, Chris Benoit was a little bit more high profile as champion than Eddie Guerrero, and I think his matches overall were a little bit better. Although Eddie Guerrero, you know, had that match with JBL where he got busted open big time, and that was a great moment in Eddie Guerrero's title reign. But you know, the match ended on a DQ, and then he lost the title a month later. So. Just as Eddie Guerrero's reign was starting to get interesting, he lost the title. And Chris Benoit held it, and I think he held it as long as he should have. And I mean, it was time to elevate a new guy in Randy Orton, and that's what happened. So, yeah, I would go with Chris Benoit. This is from Daniel Booth 50. Hey, Aaron, do you think it will be Tyson Kidd next year? It will be Tyson Kidd's year next year because Tyson Kidd was superstar in Survivor Series. Please answer in video. I mean, Tyson Kidd had a good showing at Survivor Series, but he was part of a multi-man match that was not even announced. So I'm not really all that certain that he will get another big opportunity anytime soon. I just don't see it happening. I think if he was going to be a big player in WWE, it would have happened by now when he was part of the New Hart Foundation with David Hart Smith, and you had Bret Hart endorsing him. I think that would have been his biggest opportunity, and things just didn't work out. Is the guy talented? Yes, but I just think the focus in WWE is going to be on new talent that they're bringing in, and they're not going to push a guy who's already been around for several years. I just don't see it happening. Was Cyber Sunday real, or did WWE tamper with the results? Yes, they were real, but WWE obviously tried to persuade people to vote a certain way. You know, they would build up the storylines and try to get you to vote the way that they wanted to go, the direction that they wanted to go in. And of course, there were times when the fans voted against what WWE wanted, and they had to go with it. I mean, there were several instances. I can't recall them off the top of my head, but there were times when WWE had to do a match that they weren't expecting to do, and they had to kind of improvise and change plans at the last minute. But yes, the Cyber Sunday results were legit, to my knowledge. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQ&AV. Tell a friend on Facebook or Twitter. And I will be back tomorrow for a post-Raw edition of NoDQ&A video. See you then.